Hi guys, James here, client manager at wavestreaming.com. Hope you're doing very well. We're just outside our office today, making a little video for you to help you with making it easy for people to listen. Now, you wouldn't believe the amount of radio stations I see making this mistake time and time again. It's not your fault, you know, if you're getting started in internet radio and you're not really sure how to make it effective, make your website effective for people to actually tune in. So really what I wanted to do today is just kind of give you a few pointers and show you how the experts do it, and show you that some of the mistakes actually I see, especially new radio stations making time and time again. And these are incredibly simple. You know, is really kind of straightforward stuff. You might be thinking, well, I've done all this stuff already, in which case, you know, that's great. You're going along the right lines. Whereas if you may be thinking, no, I haven't done this stuff. This didn't occur to me. Is this really that important? Well, yes, it is that important. And just go and implement it. It'll only take a few minutes of your time, and it's really straightforward, and I guarantee you it will pull in a whole bunch of extra listeners, and it will just make it that much bit better for people to listen in and make you improve your website just that little bit. So let's just go and sit down here and I'll just talk you through the things that I'm talking about. Golden rule number one you need to consider is people use different operating systems and people use different browsers, and here's what I mean. Especially over the last sort of 5-10 years, Apple Macs have become hugely popular. You know, 10-15 years ago, there were very few people who owned Apple computers, to be honest with you. Whereas now, I'm sure you know some of your friends, or maybe even you yourself, own a Mac computer. And obviously, a Mac doesn't have a Windows Media Player on it. Now, the amount of radio stations I see with on their website, you know, it says click here to listen, and it's all great. But the only option they've got is for Windows Media Player. That poses really a huge problem for people who are tuned in on a Mac, because unless they have some sort of really bizarre special plugin installed, they won't actually be able to use that link. It will be kind of useless to them. So here's the way you can overcome that. Now, as part of our package here at wavestreaming.com, and indeed using a little tool which I'm going to be showing to you at the end, which we've put together for you, you can actually easily make it accessible, make your radio station accessible for both Windows and Mac users, and even people on weird things like Linux too. And here's how you do that. We've actually got a suite of four different links which cover all of the common media players. There's a specific Windows Media Player link. There's one for iTunes, which also works with Winamp as well. There's a link for Real Player. Not so many people are using Real Player these days, but some people still love it and still use it, so it's important you include that. And then there's also a universal link. Now, the universal link is really cool because it's actually designed to work on all of the different players, and indeed it does pretty much work on all the different players. So whether people are listening on Apple's or Windows, Windows Media Player, iTunes, so on and so forth, this link will work across all of the players. Now, the thing about this is it does occasionally have a bit of a hissy fit, have a bit of a blip, so I would recommend you still do include all the specific links for the individual players. It's kind of important you do so. The other thing we've got for you, and this is golden rule number 2, is the Flash player. Now, over the past couple of years, we've had 25,000 radio stations sign up to our Flash player tool, and they're currently using it on their websites to make it really simple for people to listen in. And the beauty of this is, not only will it work on Windows using, you know, bog standard Internet Explorer, it will also work with Firefox, with Safari on a Mac, and even things like Google Chrome. So the Flash player makes it simple for people to listen, and it works on pretty much every browser going. And the great thing about this is people can tune in right from within their browser, so they don't even need to kind of listen using Windows Media or iTunes. They'll actually be able to just click a play button and listen immediately right from within a browser. Golden rule number 3 is that it's very important that you make it blatantly, blaringly obvious how to tune in on your website. Now, the way I recommend doing this, what we're going to actually do is just give you a couple of demos on screen now showing you what I mean. Is you have a link on your kind of standard nav menu, but you also have a whacking great big image either somewhere on the header of your site or maybe one of the side columns saying listen here. There's two types of users who will use the internet. There's a kind of logical, I guess, more kind of geeky type of people a bit like me, who will automatically go to the navigation menu to look for a listen link. And then there's people who will just click whatever hits them in their face. Quite often more suggestible people. And if there's a big button which says listen here, they'll just go for that big shiny button. You need to make sure your website caters for both of these types of people, both of these user groups who will be hitting your website. There are some people who will look along the nav menu, but because that's a logical place to look for all the different links to different pages. Where's a page to listen? And if you haven't got a listen link there, they're quite often going to be confused, even if there is a blaringly big, obvious, shiny button. And the amount of times I've actually seen myself make this mistake is incredible. I'll be on a website, I'll be like, hey, how do you actually listen to this? There's no link to listen. And I'll just be staring completely past this massive, great big button which says listen here. I don't know, perhaps it's one of those things where you're so used to seeing adverts and things at the side of a website, your mind just kind of automatically filters them out. Ultimately, you need to make sure you're filling both of the gaps. You need a big button and you need a listen link. So those are my 3 golden rules. Just to recap: 1, you need to use all of the listen links. Make sure people can listen with any media player. 2, you need to use a flash player on your site really. And 3, what you need to do is you need to make it easy for people to see where they can go and listen in on your website. Hopefully that little snippet's proved very useful to you. We've got a whole bunch of extra tips and techniques which you can use to make your radio station more successful. Thanks for watching. Here's the link where you can go to get all that cool free stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Bye for now.